No one saw this coming as we get a surprising major update on Igor Shesterkin heading into next season. We also have an update on JT Miller and what the Rangers are planning to do with the roster next season and what their goals are for this squad. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. It's going to be a jam-packed episode. We have a ton of updates to get to, but before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, this is the place to be for all your daily New York Rangers news. So go down below, hit that free subscribe button, and you get to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers. But first, let's start with Igor Shesterkin. We got a surprising update. I wasn't expecting to hear anything about Igor Shesterkin, but we get a interesting update on the Rangers goaltender heading into next season. And seems like Rashid Dayadov, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Russia's top goalie coach, and the New York Rangers are working to bring him to New York and reunite with Igor Shesterkin. This was his former goalie coach and obviously Russia's top goalie coach. So maybe he and Jeff Malcolm, the current goalie coach, also I believe he was a former Hartford Wolfpack as well, and obviously Allaire's prodigy, who learned under Francois Allaire, to form a duo. And I think it's a very interesting idea. This is not an update I was expecting to get, but I think this is fantastic. And if he comes over to work with Igor, gonna have his confidence back up. Obviously a shaky season at times last year. I think it had more to do with the defense in front of him than his actual play and him having to overthink everything. But it's pretty interesting. And he said that we text each other after my games. That was what Shesterkin said last summer. And he said the last time I could visit Russia was 2 years ago. So we've been communicating online. I'd send him my training videos and he'd give me feedback. I'm spending this summer in Russia. And as soon as I arrived, I texted him. I'm grateful for Lokomotiv's management for their kindness, providing ice in Yaroslav and allowing me to train with Davidov. So that was last offseason, and it looks like he could be joining the Rangers goaltending staff this season heading into next year. And again, I think this is big because, again, at times last year, didn't have the confidence. You saw that. He was making some weird plays, a lot of shaky goals. And again, I think it was because of the defense in front of him. But if he gets, a familiar face, somebody who worked with him before, worked with him when he was coming up, and then eventually jumped to the NHL, I mean, this could be a really good thing for not just, Igor Shesterkin, but the Rangers if he finds that new confidence. And, him coming in, working with Malcolm as well. Whoever comes in the door next, obviously, you have Grand down there in the AHL. But whoever comes up next after Jonathan Quick's contract's up next year, I would imagine Quick's going to retire after next season. You get to work with a really good goalie coach in this way. So I think this is actually really big news. Nobody really saw this coming. I had no idea there was going to be an update on Shesterkin or anything like this. This would be a great move, I think. I think this would be pretty cool and could get him back to the Igor Shesterkin. Not only that we know, but maybe bring him to another level. The next thing I want to get into is the captaincy. We got to start talking about it because they got to make a decision here. You have your new head coach. We know Chris Drury's staying. He's got to make some moves, but the draft's coming up. Free agency's coming up. Who's going to be the next captain of the New York Rangers? And this is from Peter Baugh of The Athletic. And obviously this account that's tweeting out said, I'm pulling for JT Miller. But Peter Baugh goes on to say, who should be the Rangers' next captain? Is it a player on the roster? And he went on to say, Sullivan said in his opening news conference that he was impressed with the leadership on the roster in his initial conversations with players, and that he and Drury will discuss whether to fill the captaincy as a whole. If New York decides to have a captain, the three most likely candidates seem to be Vincent Trocheck, Adam Fox, or JT Miller. Now, I'm not sure about Adam Fox. I don't think so. And I don't know if Vincent Trocheck, I know he's been here a little while at this point, like 3 years at this point. I don't know anymore if he should be the captain. I actually think it should be JT Miller because everything we heard about him in Vancouver this past season, he came in ready to win a Stanley Cup with that mindset, and things soured because the rest of the team wasn't. So if JT Miller comes into this season with that same mindset and he says, hey, looks around the room, none of us are getting younger, let's go get a cup here, and they really, from the start of the season, put their best foot forward, I think he should be that voice. I think he should be the captain. I said Vincent Trocheck last year. I think it should be JT Miller now. I've changed. So it's going to be very interesting to see where that ends up going. And again, this is from this article from Jim Cerny, and he went on to say that when it comes to whether the New York Rangers need a captain next season or not, And if so, which players should wear the C? It's an intriguing debate, obviously. Let me know in the comments who you think should be the captain of the New York Rangers next season, because, or let me know if you think they'll even name a captain next year. I think they're going to. I think it's JT Miller. Could be Vincent Trocheck, Adam Fox. Let me know who you think in the comments, who should be the captain. And from Larry Brooks as well, who wrote in the New York Post that the Rangers need a captain after the past, season that was just brutal, absolutely brutal. And obviously Jacob Trouba was traded, the former captain, to the Anaheim Ducks this past season. So Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, from the same article as well. Artemi Panarin are returning letter wearers like Fox. Each is a hard no for me to be the next captain. Agreed with that. I don't even think Kreider's going to be here next season. Knowing Kreider, it's my opinion that he's never wanted to see, preferring to be a respected voice and leader in the room just without the captain responsibilities. I can respect that, and I respect, Chris Kreider. I've been making a couple of videos about him being traded and moving on from him. I respect the player. I think he's done great things in New York, but you got to know when it's time to move on, and that is now. So Panarin, again, got the only one season remaining on his contract. So to me, you can't give it to Zibanejad. I think it's JT Miller. I do. I think it's JT Miller. So the team is going to look different next year, right? So why not, make it a new voice, a guy that hasn't really been here the whole time, but who has the right mindset and plays the right way. And he was one of the best players. We'll get into this in a second. He was one of the best players for the Rangers this season. If you can remember when he came over from Vancouver, he wasn't necessarily struggling, but he wasn't putting together the season that we know that he could. And then he finished the season about a point a game player. He had 70 points in 72 games. And, his ice time came up, and he was looking great for the New York Rangers. He was a point a game player with the New York Rangers once he got traded over. And then on top of that, he led the league in multi-point games from the time, I think it was February 1st, to the end of the season. So, fantastic. He was putting together some really good numbers on the Rangers. So I'm excited to see what he can do with a full season on the Rangers. And again, things look different next season. We don't know exactly what Miller's going to make, if they even re-sign him. I think they're going to end up re-signing him, but we don't know what he's going to make. Obviously, is Susi going to stay? We don't know that. Vakanainen, I would imagine he's going to stay. What if you go out and get Bowen Byram, right? That could be exciting. So this team will look very different, but let me know in the comments what you think about that as well. Who should get the captaincy next year? Now, before I wrap up here, a couple updates. Obviously, the World Championships just wrapped up. There was a bunch of Rangers playing in the World Championships. Dylan Garand, Adam Sikora, Will Cooley, Juuso Parssinen, whose tournament came to a pretty early end, but he put in some good work. He had 5 points, 3 goals and 2 assists, and Mika Zibanejad looked unbelievable in this tournament. 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 points for Team Sweden, and he ended up winning the bronze medal, so congratulations to him. And Will Cooley looked very good for Team Canada as well. So some good performances here from some New York Rangers at the World Championship. So love to see that. And Zibanejad looked like he was having fun as well. I hope he can bring that into next season. But let me know in the comments what you think about that update on Igor Shesterkin and possibly getting his goalie coach back and working with him next season. I think it could be a really good thing for him mentally as well as physically, honestly. And let me know who you think should be the next captain of the New York Rangers. And, they had a great performance, a couple of them, at the World Championship, so that's nice to see, and hopefully they can bring that into next season. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.